Alrighty, we got a Tuesday daily, which means single expansion today. I see Seaside. And nothing aside from Seaside do I see. Plenty of orange cards. No shortage of the durations. What else? Looks like the answer is not a lot else. The only draw is Sea Witch, and that's terminal, which means you can only really use it as a draw for an engine if you got a village, and there's also no village. With the partial exception of Sailor, if you have a Sailor in play, you get one free play of a duration you bought. You can get it into play for free the first time, but then there's no way to, I guess, basically no way to mid-turn gain durations. Like, conceivably, if you wanted to play multiple Sea Witches in a turn that you already had in your deck, you could play a Sailor, play a Smugglers, smuggle an opponent Sailor that they just gained the previous turn, play that, you'd get +1 action, you could play 2 Sea Witches. That's not happening. So I think the answer is we're not building anything here. So what are we doing? So the terminal action cards are Treasure Map, Corsair, Sea Witch, and Smugglers. Gotta choose which, if any of those, are worth gaining here. Sea Witch seems like a natural candidate. There's Lighthouse and there's Trashing, so this is not the best Sea Witch Kingdom ever. It's still okay. It could fifth past provinces and such. And it's not really that much of a downside to force your opponent to get Lighthouses. Lighthouse actually looks like a fine card here. That seems okay. Corsair, similar, also somewhat blocked by Lighthouse, which I think you're probably going to have a few of naturally. Treasure Map, maybe? You could line it up with Haven, for example. Treasure Map doesn't seem unplayable, but not where my mind is headed. Smugglers also seems okay. Gain you some stuff. I'm actually kind of leaning towards Smugglers maybe as the best terminal here. Obviously a little bit contingent on what your opponent does. None of that stuff looks great. I could see the answer being Sea Witch or Corsair as well, or even Treasure. All of them look okay, none of them looks great, is my conclusion, as far as which terminal action you want to play with. The stuff that does look good to me, Sailor looks like the best card in this kingdom by a mile. It's thinning, it's money, it lets you get an advance payment out of any like Astrolabes or Lighthouses or Corsairs that you buy. So you're going to want Astrolabes, because if you have plus buy in play, and then you buy a Corsair, for example, you get 2 money back, and then with the second buy you can put that towards something else. So like Sailor plus Astrolabe plus buying some of this stuff looks like where this deck is probably headed. Just click on a bunch of the duration things and then buy provinces roughly one at a time. So I'll open with a Sailor. $3 buy, probably just Lookout, I think. Yeah, I think I just want to get thin. Smugglers or Astrolabe wouldn't be unreasonable choices either. Lighthouse, even if you didn't need to block an attack, it is a silver, because it's like each time you play it, you get 2 coins in total. It has the downside relative to silver that it is more likely to miss shuffles. Like if you play a Lighthouse turn 4, it stays out of play. You get the money a little bit later. But it has the upside relative to silver that you can play it for free with Sailor, which is kind of nice. And so I think you'd probably get Lighthouses here, even if your opponent didn't play with attacks, which naturally makes the attacks not look so great if your opponent is likely to have some Lighthouses regardless. Alrighty. The dream draw would be Sailor and 4 coppers, and then buying a second Sailor. Didn't quite hit that. I guess just a Haven is fine. I set aside an estate, okay. Right, the bot has a Sea Witch, which increases my desire for a Lighthouse. Alright, I've got 6. What am I doing on 6? Second Sailor on the Lighthouse. And on an Astrolabe and a Smugglers. Just a Sea Witch. All of those sound okay-ish. I think I'm still on the mindset that Sailor looks like the best card in this kingdom. I definitely want to get some Lighthouses into play. I wish I could have drawn a Sailor here. Yeah, unfortunately that Lighthouse bottom decked, or I could have blocked that. I'll set the Sailor aside. Gives me enough money to buy one of these, play it, and buy a second one. I still don't have a terminal action card in my deck, which feels like it's probably wrong. What's the bot been doing? Very similar stuff, but with some Sea Witches. And no Lookout. I probably need another Astrolabe. A few more, in fact. Fortunately, if I'm low on plus buy, I can always buy an Astrolabe, play it with the Sailor effect, and get it into play immediately. So I'm never too low on plus buy. Okay, I got one Sailor play, 7 money. I have not played a Lighthouse this turn, so maybe Lighthouse plus a Sea Witch. Could be Sailor plus a Lighthouse. If I buy the Sailor first, play that, then I can play the Lighthouse with the second Sailor. I'm not really getting the money on a Lighthouse, but that's fine. I think I like that line. Someday I'll acquire a terminal action card. Astrolabe looks pretty automatic here. You got more money than you need. You got a Sailor in play. You have too few buys. Buy an Astrolabe, we'll be back at 5. Nope, the bot just wants more golds. Okay. Well, now I'm kind of thinking about Corsair, perhaps. Does the bot have a lighthouse? The bot has lighthouses, so the attack's not going to hit very often anyway. It's still a fine card. It's like 2 money. I play it immediately. It draws me a card. Could be the Corsair is the answer. So I could do Corsair, which effectively costs 3 if I play it immediately. And then another Sailor. I could do an Astrolabe and a Corsair that I don't play. Astrolabe and some lighthouses. Astrolabe, lighthouse, smugglers. I'm going to take the Corsair. It's kind of hard to have much of a grand strategy here. I think my strategy amounts to thinking Sailor looks good and clicking that a bunch, and then making up the rest as I go. The bot likes golds a lot here. I mean, it's a big money kingdom, so that's not the worst conclusion in the world. I should know what my deck is. I don't know if those bottom cards are worth playing a Lookout over. Only 5 coppers have been trashed? I'm going to play it. Yeah, there we go. That Lookout's probably going to run its course pretty soon. Okay, I've got a Lighthouse in play. I have 1 Sailor played. What am I doing here? Corsair Treasury. Some Astrolabes and a Smugglers. I think I like that plan a little bit more. I'm rather indecisive. I got 3 money coming in, 5 money coming in. Right, bot takes a province. I won't be able to match that even if I didn't trash this copper. So instead, our attack card looks nice here. Bot doesn't have a lighthouse down. In that case, maybe just another Corsair. And an Astrolabe. So this lighthouse would block a Corsair that I played on this turn. But if it has a golden hand, for example, it still trashes it to that Corsair. I wonder... It has 3 golds in the deck. I wonder if it just voluntarily omitted playing them. That'd be interesting to see. Let's trash that. It's got an Astrolabe. Unknowingly, I've got a little bit of terminal collision here, so I can't play all of this. I do have a Haven. Is there another copper down there? I don't recall. I may have trashed all my coppers at this point. Don't think I'm going to gamble on that. And really, it shouldn't be a gamble. I should know what's in my deck, but I don't. So I could set aside the Corsair, play the Smugglers. I would gain an Astrolabe, but I wouldn't play it because I don't have any Sailors in play. Alas. I don't have 10 money. That could just be like a Province and a Haven or something. Or I could set aside the Smugglers, play the Corsair. I would have 12 money, which I could buy like a Province and a Sailor. I set aside the Smugglers. And Sailor are just like 2 of the 2s. I don't really know. I think I'm just going to take another Sailor. It appears I did in fact have 1 more copper down there. We said 2 money. 3, 4, 5, 6. Unknowingly, this does not hit 8, and also I have no valid Smugglers targets. That didn't work out so hot. Oh wow. I guess a lighthouse and a duchy then? Bot does seem to be ahead here. I think my deck is probably stronger, but I'm obviously behind in points. There's not a whole lot of room to catch up here. Okay, I'll be buying a Province, I presume. I just get a bunch of lighthouses in play. Oh, I'm out of Sailors. Maybe we're gonna do that slightly. Why is my math not working out? I think I confused myself by how far back I clicked undo. Okay, so I have 2 Sailors in play. I could just buy 2 Astrolabes then, I guess. Ever so slightly better than Sailor. Or sorry, ever so slightly better than Lighthouse if I don't need the attack blocking effect. Could also just be 1 Sailor. Every line I click appears to give me exactly 2 money next turn. 2 Astrolabes, 2 Lighthouses, 1 Sailor. It's not a big difference. I guess I'll take the one that comes with plus buy. This is not a lovely hand. Alright, the bot has lost to silver. But I think it still has all 3 of its golds. Yeah. Yes, it does. Goodbye, Lookout. Don't like hitting 9 here. I might just be buying this last province. There's no way that I think it was lost regardless, is the conclusion. It has 4 money coming in and a Sea Witch. There's like 0% chance it doesn't hit 8 next turn. So buying a province looks like a loss, but buying 1 duchy just looks like a slower loss, because it can just province back and still be fine. Yeah, everything looks pretty bad at this stage. Corsair doesn't hit. No good at all. Don't know where this went so off the rails. I'll have to go back and look at the log real fast. Two duchies. Yeah, I'm 10 points behind. Even a bad dud here from the bot wouldn't save me. Well, it does have a bad dud. Let's see just how bad that dud is. Not bad enough. My smugglers finally did something. Unfortunately, I'm still way too many points back. Yeah. Okay, so the bot did go with a pair of Sea Witches, which seems reasonable enough. I suppose the bot's plan was a little bit more focused on just like 2 Sea Witches and some money. And if you're playing with just a bunch of treasures, then the Sea Witches look a little bit better because you're not drawing quite so much stuff dead. Yeah, like this deck looks totally reasonable to me. Where did this stuff go wrong? Maybe the Lookout was a mistake. Probably. Lookout gets you thinner faster. But if you're planning to just have a bunch of treasures and draw, and then sift with Sea Witch, maybe getting super thin isn't that important. Like the bot still has 3 of its starting coppers. So maybe the Lookout was too weak as an opening. Anything else jump out to me? I still like the Sailors. The Sailors seem quite good. And most of this other stuff is just stuff that made sense at the time, given that I had Sailors in play. The Smugglers could matter, like if we got into a more protracted duchy dancing situation, the Smugglers would be very good. But there was never really a situation where the bot was forced to buy duchies. I think I bought 1 duchy and then my hand just didn't happen to have the Smugglers around. The Corsairs, again, it was just like a thing that I could get in play that gave me money back immediately. But I don't think they do all that much. It is, even with the bot having just like a bunch of gold and silver in its deck, the attack misses surprisingly often, and by the time it hits, it's often too late. So I don't think the attack was doing much, plus Lighthouse is around. So I don't love the Corsairs, but wasn't really central in the first place. Let's give this a second shot. I'll take a Smugglers in the opening. Just something in place of the Lookout. Would love it if I could find the Sailor turn 3. Turn 3 with durations is just a lot better than turn 4. Doubly better with Sailor, because not only do you get to play the Sailor and trash turn 4 and shuffle back in, but you're also playing another duration and shuffling that back in. So So that would make a world of difference. Alas, no estate present. But that's a nice little interaction. This is already off to a better start. Do I want a second Sea Witch already? That's probably premature. I already have 2 terminals on the deck. If I want a second Sea Witch, I can always just buy it and play it immediately on a turn where I have 5 money, and then I'm not getting to it any slower. And the bot has a Sea Witch in its deck, and it hasn't played it yet, so Lighthouse here seems prudent. Astrolabe and a Sailor. Oh no, I've been cursed. The bot has a lot of Sea Witches this time. And no Lighthouse in play. I suppose I ought to do that. Gain something nice for me to smuggle, please. That is just the absolute perfect target. Could not ask for more. How badly do I want to trash a copper? I could neglect to play one of these sailors if I want to get a copper trash in. Probably not that important in this deck. So Sailor's nice because I can play the Smugglers, play the Sailor with the Sailor effect, and then still play the Sea Witch. Don't mind that, not one bit. Get an Astrolabe into play. And I suppose the Lighthouse, the bot has hella Sea Witches. Province already? Still seems a little bit early, but who's to say? I'd be more inclined to click like Astrolabe plus something. Just a single Sailor. So obviously, if you do it in this order, you get to play the Sailor immediately. But if you buy Astrolabe first and play that, you can play the Astrolabe immediately and then buy the Sailor. You wouldn't get to play the Sailor, but Astrolabe that you played immediately plus a Sailor seems better than just a Sailor that you're playing immediately. But what do I know? Alrighty, probably Province time for me. Oh, only the one Sailor. Keep forgetting that. Alright, the bot has taken a gold. I've got a Sailor in place, that's a free Lighthouse, and a Province. This run is going a lot better. Maybe the draws are working out better. Like, I did have that one really nice shuffle where, actually 2 different shuffles where the Smugglers lined up in just the opportune way versus the bot's gains, where I got to smuggle a Sea Witch and immediately play it. That was great. Plus the turn where I got to smuggle the Sailor, put it in play, and still play the Sea Witch. Yeah, I'm willing to believe that what do you call it? A Lookout is not part of the optimal deck. But Lookout still doesn't seem terrible, and I don't think Lookout versus Smugglers on average explains the size of the difference between last game and this game. The bot has taken a Haven. I guess I'll smuggle a free Haven. Am I getting to 8 here? Probably not, seems like. There's not too many cards I could draw off the top that gets me to 8, but that's fine. I mean, for a fleeting moment here, I do get to have 8, but not quite. Oh, I only played the one sailor. I keep forgetting the number of sailors. I guess I'll just take a Haven and a Duchy. Oh, maybe I should have thought about playing another Sea Witch. The bot was undefended, and I didn't notice that. Got plenty of money coming in here. And yet still not quite 8. Yeah, I think probably I should have played another sailor and planned to like smuggle the Haven, then buy a Sea Witch and play the Sea Witch is sounding a bit better, I think, than what I ended up doing. Okay. Sailor. Bot is still undefended. Let's go ahead and Sea Witch. Well. The bot is also just having a much worse time of it over there. Maybe that's the curses hitting. The bot has not taken many lighthouses or many astral. Like, if you have the plus buy, a lot of these are very easy to take because they pay for themselves. Like, lighthouse effectively costs 1 with a sailor in play. Astrolabe effectively costs 2. I could smuggle a gold. Is that better than playing a Sea Witch? The bot does not have lighthouse down, so I think I'm leaning towards playing the Sea Witch. Probably too late in the game for me to care that much about trashing coppers. Might I interest you in a duchy, pretty please? I'd like to buy a duchy this turn. I would like it if you bought a duchy. Oh, I also gotta watch out for piles. Curses are very low and lighthouses are very low. Maybe a pile that will arise. Bot's got that curse of hitting 7 over and over. Alright, I spy with my little eye a duchy. Does this copper make a difference for me hitting 8? No, but if I keep it I can play a free lighthouse, which sounds really nice. Yeah, this is just total night and day from the previous game. I don't know, the Sea Witches have felt fine. The early Smugglers has felt fantastic, but I think that was really just like, it just happened to show up in some really, really opportune hands here. Still not quite a pile out. All right, yeah, the bot has fallen on its sword. I think I'm going to say Lookout's probably not worth it. The biggest downside of Lookout usually is if you're opening with it to get thin, you're hitting really low numbers for a minute because it makes no money back the turn you play it. And that didn't seem like a big downside here with a bunch of cheap cards that you're perfectly fine clicking. So I still don't think Lookout looks terrible. But if you're taking a bunch of sailors anyway, then maybe it's just not that important to get very thin. Or if you plan on playing with Sea Witch, which just sifts you past your junk, that's also another reason why you might just not want to get that thin all that badly. So maybe Lookout's not worth it. I think that was probably a mistake. And I mean, the Corsairs were never a central part of the strategy, but they're obviously not very good either. Maybe just there's no situation where you'd rather buy a Corsair that it isn't better just being a Astrolabe or a Lighthouse if you need the money, or a Sea Witch if you don't. The Sea Witches seemed reasonably good, although the bot did not have Lighthouse up as often this game. And the Smugglers played very well this game, but I also think I got fairly lucky with it. I could definitely see something like the bot's deck, which is just only Sea Witch is the only terminal and no Smugglers. I think this deck still needs at least an Astrolabe or two. The plus pilots you do a lot more with the Sailors. So I think if you could do something like the bot's deck, and this looks like a totally fine deck, I would just add in some more Astrolabes. And then, for example, you could buy a Situational Lighthouse and take fewer curses. But just like broadly speaking, something like this looks totally fine.